My name is Adeola and I love to read. The only problem with that is reading is a very expensive hobby and I don't have money. Do I look like a kind of person that have money? I don't. An average book in Nigeria costs not less than 5,000 naira. And if you've watched episode 1 of my reading diaries series, you know that I read an average of 4 books a week, making it more or less 16 books a month. That means if I want to buy physical books, I'm going to need 80,000 naira a month to read 16 books. And my goal is to read 100 books this year. So I need a total of 500,000 naira to buy books to read. But what happens when I buy a book and I don't like it? Or what happens if they don't have the book that I want to buy? Does that just mean I don't read? So I've had to hustle and bustle to find a way to read as much as I want for free because I am a cheapsake and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm going to share with you in this video: how I read, when I read, how I get books to read, how I get book recommendations, books I like to read, books I recommend that you should read, how I annotate the books that I read, my TBR list, and how I plan my reading process, my rating process, and all the tropes I like to read. So, if you're a reader girl or a reader boy and you're interested in any of these things, stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into the video. I'll be honest with you, the best way to read as a book person is to read on your phone. This is my phone and I read on it. If you see me in public staring down at my phone, then I'm probably reading, not chatting with my boyfriend because I don't have any. Another device I use to read actually is my laptop. I have it here. It's very portable and it's a touch screen, so I use it to read sometimes. Then another device that I also use to read is my mom's tab. In most of my reading vlogs that you see on my channel, I use my mom's tab because it has that perfect size for the hand and it's not uncomfortable to hold, and my mom doesn't use it often, so I just use it. That is how I read. I have tried several apps, I've tried a lot, but the one that has always stuck with me and one that I always come back to is an app called Moon Reader. It's available on Android. I've been using it for as long as I can remember, but I am not sure if it is available on Apple. So if you use an Apple device, try to download it. If it works, then leave a comment in the description, tell others. I've gotten a lot of questions about this. The way that I found that works for me now is an app. Sorry, actually not an app, it is a website. I've been using it ever since I discovered it and it has worked for me perfectly. I haven't had any issues with it, and all the books that I have ever searched on there, I've always found them. I'm going to link this website in the description for anyone who wants to check it out. You're welcome. To be honest, to be very honest, I believe in tropes and book covers, judging books by their covers. I'm that kind of person. If I like a book cover, I am probably going to read the book. If you tell me a book has this particular trope in it, I am probably going to read the book. I am just that simple. I am very easy to please. The main way that I get book recommendations is through Pinterest. Pinterest is my only grey app. My Pinterest is linked in the description if you want to follow me. I have an entire board on my Pinterest called To Be Read. Anytime I'm scrolling on Pinterest and I come across a book cover or like tropes in a book, I just save it to that board. So whenever I'm looking for books to read, I just check that. It's very easy, very convenient. It's another way that I get book recommendations is through YouTube. I've spoken about this before, but if you haven't watched the video, I like book YouTube. So I follow some booktubers like Haley Pham, the Book Leo, Jack Edwards, and Eden Victoria. So whenever they recommend a book, I always tend to check it out because we have similar tastes. If you are looking for book recommendations or you don't know what to read, always check YouTube. And another way is through TikTok. I've been spending a lot of time on TikTok, so obviously I am on BookTok. Sometimes I get book recommendations on TikTok and I just screenshot that, keep it. Lastly, I always get book recommendations from my friends and some WhatsApp group that I am on. I have a few friends like Oyinko. Shout out to Oyinko. As you guys know, I am a avid planner. So I'm sure you're not surprised to hear that I plan my reading. I use Notion to plan my reading. I got a free template from one of my favorite YouTubers. And I was also bored one day, so I created a library spreadsheet and I also use that to plan my reading. I am not very good at annotating. I don't have a specific routine or like color scheme that I use. I try to make it as easy as possible. The app I use, Moonreader, allows for annotation. You can highlight, you can underline, you can do a squiggly line, and you can strike through. Whenever I am reading a romance, if I come across a very heartwarming, cutesy little scene between the characters or like a dialogue, and I like it, I highlight it. Whenever I'm reading a book and the MMC is a red flag, I use a red highlight to highlight everything that is wrong with what he's saying and what he's doing. And whenever I'm reading a fantasy book, I highlight any sort of world building information type of scenario that I come across, so I'll get the basic idea of what the story is about. Whenever I find something funny in what I read, I also highlight it. Whenever I come across something that I can relate to in a book, I also highlight it. I read romance. Everybody knows that. Romance books, romance movies. I love them. I eat them up. It's like my comfort read. I started reading through romance, so it's kind of like I have to read romance. I also read thrillers. I love thrillers. I love where I'm guessing like who did it, who killed that person. I especially love thrillers where the main characters are the one that did it. Like thriller book recommendations. In case you want some, read The Housemaid. It's one of my favorite books. The Perfect Marriage is really good. You Shouldn't Have Come Here is also really good. Anything by Jennifer Rose, anything by Lisa Joel is also really good. Moving on, I read fantasy. I love jumping into a fantasy book, and that's all I can think about. When I close my eyes, I can see it's a fantasy world. It's so good. Like, I do think you guys understand how good it is to lose yourself in a book. I don't think people understand it because I love fantasy that involves supernatural creatures. I love fantasy where there's a badass main character and there's a supernatural creature that she likes. Fae, vampire, nightmares, just anything you can think of. Werewolves are really good. So yeah, anything along those lines. Moving on, I recently started reading nonfiction this year. I used to hate it. So yeah, those are the genres that I normally read. I read short stories too. If you have any book recommendations in these genres, please give me some. Leave a comment. Thank you. I am that kind of person that double books. I think that's what they call it. I tend to read one fictional book and one non-fictional book at the same time. Right now, I am currently reading The Serpents of the Wings of the Night, or Serpents of the Wings and Night. I genuinely don't know. I just know it has serpents, wings, and nights in it. That's what I am reading. I'm chapter 3, so I cannot tell you if it's good. All you need to know is it is fantasy, there is a vampire in it. I am reading it. I am also reading Girls That Invest by Simon Core. Yeah, it's about money because I want to make money. I tend to read a lot at night because it's just that soft spot for me. I don't like being pulled out of a book once I'm like in it. How long does it take me to finish a book? It takes about 2 to 3 days to finish, to be very honest. If I am in a slump, I can read a book for 11 days straight. That's almost 2 weeks. That's crazy. If you want to know how much I read in a week, I made a video about that. If you want to know what I do when I am in a reading slump, I made a video about that in the description. Check it. I feel like if you're going to spend so much time reading a book, imagining and processing all the information from a book, you might as well just rate it when you're done, yeah? So, like the average person I am, I rate my books, I use the 5-star method. I don't give books 0 stars. I try, really try not to give a book 1 star. 2 stars are books that there was just something that I really didn't like about that book. 3 stars are for books that were just okay, there was nothing really special about it. 4 stars, most of my books that I read are actually 4 stars. 4 stars are like average, kind of good books. I enjoyed reading it. I will probably forget everything that happened. 5 stars are books that I have to tell somebody about. So books I talk about in my videos, books that I talk about with my sisters, that I narrate the entire thing to my sisters. So we're thinking The Cruel Prince, we're thinking Better Than the Movies by Lynn. We're thinking Stay With Me, Shatter Me, we're thinking Shatter Me. That's how I rate my books. Then I have a special, very special category for my comfort reads. So these books didn't hit 5 stars, but these books really made me happy when I was reading them. Whenever I want to read a book, I only read my comfort books. And these books tend to mostly be romance because you can't really reread a thriller. And fantasies are too complex for you to kind of reread them. So some of my comfort reads are Better Than Movies, Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher, 7 Days in June, Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, Bride by Ali Hazelwood, Just for the Summer, which I recently read. I like unreliable main characters. I like arranged marriages, marriage on convenience. I like He Falls First and Falls Harder. I like She Falls First, He Falls Harder. I like Billionaire Trope. I like It Was All a Bet. After, it was most of the tropes that I like always have this kind of pain. Like when the characters go through emotional pain, I love it. Remember in Bridgerton when Viscount and Kate liked each other, but there was no way they could be together because he was engaged to our sister.
Yeah, when you like someone, but you know there's absolutely no way you can with that person. That pain, I love it. I want the characters to cry.
I love the book that you like someone so much that it makes you cry. I also love misunderstandings in books. I love enemies to lovers, but I like the idea of friends to lovers, but I haven't read a good friends to lovers. But yeah, this is the end of the video. Finally, I cannot tell you the amount of times I have filmed this video. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I reply to all my comments. Also, tell me what book you're currently reading. I want to know. If you have any book you want to recommend to me, I would love that. I'm always looking for new books to read. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.